Today we're going to be doing a channeling using a tarot card to see what kinds of secrets we can uncover, what kind of wisdom we can capture from it. And basically we're going to try to understand what we can learn from the star card today and what lessons we can take and apply to our lives. And so let's get into it. The star card is a really powerful card. It's a card that represents working together. It represents unity. Now, these aren't things that we generally attribute to the star card. In the star card, we only have the one person in this card. However, in order for us to achieve anything, in order for us to become that star, in order for us to get our wish fulfilled, there is always some element of partnership in one form or fashion. That partnership could be with another person, one other person, or it could be with ourselves and many other people that we have many partnerships with. But the star card really represents that partnership is very important. Now, it is important to have partnerships with other people. Of course, in order to achieve our dreams, we're always going to need the help of others. We never really do anything in a silo. We never do anything on our own. Anyone that you see who is extremely successful did not do it on their own, even if they claim that they did. It's simply not how things operate. It's not how things work. If you were supposed to do things on your own, then you would be here on this planet on your own. You wouldn't have everybody else around you. So there's a reason why you are here. That is very important. You're here to express yourself, but there's also a reason why you're here along with everybody else, because you're all here. We're all here to express ourselves and to help each other do the same. So that is the primary thing that this card wants us to take away. But there's also another relationship, and that is a relationship with ourselves and building trust with ourselves. That relationship is one of the hardest for us to achieve here in this reality. It should actually be the easiest because we come in already having that relationship very much intact, but that relationship slowly gets broken apart as our cells tell us one thing, but then the world tells us something else. And then there is this discord, and we start to learn to trust those other people over ourselves, especially when those other people all seem to say the same thing that contradicts ourselves. So our relationship with ourselves starts to get a little bit severed. Now, it can never be completely severed because our relationship with ourselves is our relationship with ourselves, and we can't really cut ourselves from ourselves, but that relationship starts to deteriorate over time. And that's okay, but this card really just wants to remind us that that's a relationship that we should also be working on. And all relationships are important, and we certainly need to work with others in our lives, but it's also important to remember to work with ourselves. And the other people in our lives, they are reflections of our own relationship. Like a relationship with another person is still essentially a relationship with ourselves because people are reflecting who we are. So, or who we think we are, what perceptions we have about ourselves, how we think things operate. So a relationship with another person is still a relationship with yourself, because again, they are a reflection of you. But you want to have a relationship solely with yourself as well, through yourself, because that is the purer form, the less tainted form, the less confusing form. It can seem more confusing because we don't always know how to talk to ourselves. We know how to talk to a person that's in front of us, it's right there. But we don't always know how to talk to ourselves. When we talk to a person, we see their body language, we see their expressions, they say things back to us. When we talk to ourselves, we see the same things, but because that connection is deteriorated, we don't always trust it. We don't always think that it's really us. And we like to attribute that true self of ourselves, that true aspect of ourselves, as a higher self. We still create it as a separate connection from us. And there's reasons to separate higher self versus physical self, because we do operate in different things, even though we are the same, two halves of the same whole. But that distinction also makes it harder for us to understand that it's building a connection with us. And so when our higher self is talking to us, that aspect of ourselves is talking to us, we don't always know or trust it. We think, oh no, I'm making that up. But you are still a part of your higher self, and your higher self is still a part of you. So if you're still making it up, does it really matter? isn't it still reflecting your relationship with yourself at this point in time? So that's why that distinction sometimes can trip people up, because you're like, well, I don't know if it's my higher self or it's just me making it up. Well, you're one and the same. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's what insights are you getting? Are you hearing things that maybe you don't normally tell yourself? Are you getting ideas that you hadn't thought of before? Do you feel better after the interaction? Are you able to get truths about yourself? Maybe things that you're not doing as well as maybe you want to or would like to, and you're hearing it, but it's in a very loving way, not a very critical or judgmental way like you might hear from someone else, or from, aspects of yourself that you have learned, that you've taught to hate about the other aspects of you. So that's what this card really wants to tell us, is that if you're looking to get your wish fulfilled, 1, it does require the work of others. 2, whenever you are talking to someone else, you are essentially talking to yourself. And 3, it really requires nurturing the bond between you and understanding that even if you're just imagining it, it's still you. And it's so interesting because with the star card, the star, we wish upon a star and we put our wishes out there, not sure if it's ever going to happen, but kind of hoping that it does. And that's kind of the trust that you're putting in yourself as well. When you work with yourself, you're talking to yourself, wishing that you would get an answer from your higher self, but not really knowing if you're going to. And now you have the answer that yes, your wish is fulfilled. And it starts with the wish and the connection with your higher self and talking to yourself, even if it feels like it's just imagination. Our wishes often feel like something that we're just imagining. They're a wish because we can't see how it's going to materialize. It's just something that's in our minds that we hope will happen, but maybe it's just wishful thinking. Maybe it's just our imagination wanting things. When in reality, we can have all things. And it feels like it's imagination, but imagination is really important. And imagination is the very beginning of your wishes becoming fulfilled. Because if you didn't have the imagination for a wish, for a stretch from where you are, you would never reach where you want to be. You wouldn't even know that you want to go there. So imagination is the beginning of any of your desires coming to fruition. So don't negate imagination.